Alrighty, guys, we are back. So, let us get crazy. Let's melt you guys' brains here, and let's get into arithmetic combinators. This is the third video in our tutorial series. We're looking at combinators right now, and we saved the best one for last. Let's get into arithmetic combinators. They're these blue ones. So arithmetic combinators do a bunch of different things that the other ones don't. So the first off, these first four is multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Okay, we'll ignore percentages for right now because it's actually not a mathematical function. So these first four are mathematical functions. So a times b, a divided by b, a plus b, a minus b. Okay, so we're going to get into those first. So we're going to go with a times b. So we're going to put this in, and we're going to tell it a signal. Okay, just we don't have to use a. We can use any number. We can set this any number. Same thing. We also have the wild card. Okay. So we can, and we don't have to have a second number. We can set it to, a specific number if we wanted to, right? We don't have to use a times b. I'm using a times b for the example. We could use a times 10. Or for instance, we could go each, right? And we could take all of the inputs. It would take each input times 10 and output it. So for instance, this would give us, this one plus this one is set at 1. This one is set at 1. So that's 1 and 1 is 2 times 10 gives us an output of 20, right? We could, we could make that each as well, and then it would give us 10 and 10. You remember the wild cards from the last discussion, right? I'm just going to use info just to put it on there, but we're going to go A and B, right? Just to use two numbers. So let's set this one to 2, right? So B is 2, A is again 2. All right. So we got A times B, right? So 2 times 2 is 4. If we go division, A divided by B, 2 divided by 2 is 1. Addition, A is 2, B is 2, A plus B, 4. Subtraction, A minus B, we won't get a signal because 2 minus 2 is 0, no signal. But if we change this to 4, our output will be 2 because 4 minus 2 is 2, right? Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Here's where it gets interesting. These next sets of functions. This is not percentage. This is known as modulo, however you pronounce it. It's actually a function of division. And the way that works is when you divide something, say you divide 21 divided by 10, right? Or 21 divided by 2, okay? You're going to get 10 times that it goes in with 1 left over, all right? Well, what modulo does is it takes that 1 that's left over, and that's what it reports to you. It doesn't report the 10 times that 2 goes into 20. It reports that leftover number, that last one. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around. But let's do something here. I'll kind of give you an example of what you can do with it. All right, so we have division, right? We set this one to divide. If we put down a number, and the number I'm going to use is 24,321. It's the number from the wiki. So if you're confused by my explanation, if you go to the wiki, and the wikis are listed in the description for this, okay? We can use this function to read this number, right? We can't read this number directly, but what we can do is we can use the arithmetic combinators to read each number individually. And the way we do that, right, is we will take that number, that 24,321, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide it by 10k, because if you look, that's how many positions we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we want this first number. So we're going to divide by 10,000 to get this first number. All right? So the number divided by 10,000 gives us the output. And let's do something here real quick. Let us add an intermediary pole so we can read this. All right. So we got that number. We've got 24,321, right? We're going to divide it by 10,000. That's going to give us 2, because 10,000 is going to go into this twice with all of this left over, right? But we only want that first number. So we can go over here and we can go B, which is the output here, modulo 10, right? And that's going to give us the we're going to jump over the remainder. We're going to go to the number, right? So it's going to come out as the 2, all right? Because what the division does is it rounds off. It basically ignores when we do a division, all right? And let's say we do 5, A is 5, all right? And we divide that by 2. What are we going to get? 2.5, right? We're going to get 2. It's going to ignore that 0.5. If we went 50, right, divided by 6, all right, what are we going to get? We're going to get 8, because 6 times 8 is 48, right? And then the leftover is going to be ignored. Well, that leftover is still there. So we're going to use this to jump over that leftover and give us the 2. All right. So then if we change this and we go to 1,000, right? 1,000 is the next digit down. So this is now going to give us a 4. And we can keep doing that, down. And that's going to give us a 3. And then so on, 3, 2, 1, right? So basically what it does is it shows the remainder. It doesn't show the division itself. The example they give in the wiki is if you take 13 modulo 3, right, is 13 is equal to 3 times 4 plus 1, right? So you're going to get 1, all right, because that's going to be the leftover, if that makes sense. It doesn't, modulo doesn't care about the division, it cares about the leftovers, if that makes sense. So you can use that to read out a number. I'm not sure what else you would use it for. I'm not a programmer. I'm sure there are other things that you're going to use it for. Okay? The next thing that we're going to look at, and you can dig deeper into medulla. If you look up, it's MODULO, right? And you can actually Google it. MODULO, right? And you can look it up. There's a Wikipedia page for it. It gets into some really heavy math that I'm not going to get into because I'm probably never going to use that function other than, like I just showed you, to read a number if I want to make a display. Again, like I say, I'm not that deep into programming. The next one is this, okay? And this is exponent, all right? It's just like exponent in math. And if I had, for instance, I had 2 stone, right? And I had 2 coal. 2 squared is, whoa, oh, I've got the n still on. All right, so 2 squared is 4, right? 3 squared is 9. So it's basically just an exponent function. Now you don't have to put in coal. You can set a set number so that whatever is in here or whatever you tell it to read, 2 to the 4th power is what? 81. Or 4. What is it? 3 to the 4th power is 81. Because it's 3 times 3 times, right? So there you go. So that's the exponent function. Next function we have are these two, and these are bit shift functions. They're not math functions; they're bit shift function. And the way this works is, if, for instance, I had the number 20, right? And I bit shifted it to the right one slot. What happens is this. All right, imagine each of these is a column in binary. I don't know if you guys remember how binary works. What we're going to do is we're going to treat the walls as zeros, the gates as ones. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 is 0, right? 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 is 1. 0, 1, because you binary can only be 1 or 0. So when you add the next one, it pushes it over, right? And so on and so on and so on. So 5 would be 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, or actually 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1 is 5, right? If that makes sense. So if we go down to, what did we say? We bit shifted 20, 1 to the right. So let's go down here, and I laid these all out just to have them. So if we go down to 20, 20 is represented as 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. All right? Now, if we bit shift that, we're going to move it 1 space to the left or 1 space to the right. In this case, we moved it 1 space to the right, so it is this number right here, right? If we look, we can find that number, and that number is actually up here. It's 10, right? Because we've moved over one space that direction. So if we look, 10. If we bit shift 1 in the other direction, if we bit shift 1 to the left, right? If we go down here to 20 again and we look, we've moved 1 that direction, it comes out to 40. All right. So that's all bit shifting does. Now, again, I'm not sure what you would use this for in Factorio. Um, it's programming logic. So, you know, it's not something I'm really versed in, is programming. Um, but that's what it's used for. It's used for programming, and it's called a bitwise, or or I'm sorry, it's not called a bitwise. It's a yeah. It's called a left bit shift and a right bit shift. I don't know why you would use them. I don't know the reason for bit shifting. Um, they're operations dealing with binary state, and it's just shifting the numbers one direction or the other. I don't know what you would use it for. Again, like I say, I'm not that into programming. Now, the next one that we're looking at is the gates, and or exclusive or. Now, there's a couple of things that happen on these and ors or exclusive ors. There's a couple of ways you can use these, because these are not straight and ors or exclusive ors. They are what does it call them here? What does it call them? They call them bitwise and or exclusive ors. And bitwise is all one word, bitwise. And what this does is one of two things. Actually, let's do this. Let's take this completely out of here. I can go, and this is how I use it. I use an AND gate, an OR gate, and an exclusive OR gate to say I have one, I have the other, or I have both. Okay, is how I generally use them. So I'm going to set this to say stone and coal. And I'm going to set this to AND. Okay? If I have a stone signal but no coal signal, I don't get a signal out. Right? If I have a coal signal but no stone signal, I don't get a signal out. But if I have my stone signal and my coal signal, then I get a signal out. That's AND, right? Or if I have a stone signal, I get a signal out. Or if I have a coal signal, I get a signal out. Now I can have both. I'll still get a signal out because I have stone or coal. So if I've got one or the other or both, an OR will work. But what if I don't want both? What if I only want one or the other? Well, if I have a coal, I have a signal. Or stone. If I have a coal, I have a signal. But if I have both of them there, I have no signal. Because it's an OR, it's an exclusive OR. It has to be one or the other. It can't be both. So you have AND, or exclusive OR. Now that's how I use them, okay? But the thing with it is, these are not. That's not how they work. They are bitwise and or exclusive ORs, and what those do is, this is where it gets a little weird. Is an AND is a multiplication function, right? So again, we're treating these like bits. So gates are ones, walls are zeros. Gates are ones, walls are zeros. Okay. So on the AND bitwise, 1 times 1 is 1. 0 times 1 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. So that's what you're going to get out of that. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be a 5, and this would be a 3, right? So we can go test that. If we say input is 5 and input is 3, and we do an AND, what do we get out? We get out a 1, right? And that's what we got here, 1. All right. An OR function is the same as the OR function, with a single, but it's because we're using bits. So I have one here, I have one here, which means that either one I have one is a 1. Either one I have one is a 1. Either one I have one is a 1. Either one I don't have one is a 0. So again, we use those same numbers. We're going to get a different number. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So if we look at this and we go OR, our output is a 7, right? Which is different than if this was an AND, right? And it's going to be the same thing with the exclusive OR, but it's binary, so it won't be the same number. So we have this one and we have this one, which means we have a 0 because we have one and we have one. We don't have one and we have one is a 1. We have one and we don't have one is a 1. And we don't have any, so that's a 0. So it's only going to be a 1 if it's only a 1 in one of these. We can't have them both. So what we end up with that same numbers, that 5 and that 3, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So should be 6, right? So if we change this to exclusive OR and we read our number, oops, wrong one. Change this to exclusive OR. We're still using the 3 and the 5 and the 3. Now our output is 6 because that's how it does the bits. So again, this is more for a programming thing. If you're using binary numbers, this is where that's going to come in. I don't, like I say, generally don't use it that way. I use them as straight AND OR and exclusive OR gates with inputs that aren't numeric. I use, maybe this one is for instance an A and a B, and if I have an A signal but no B signal, then I get nothing because I'm on the AND function. That's how I use it. This gets into some stuff that I don't do programming and stuff like that. So I hope that kind of clears up what these gates do, what these combinators do. When you start getting into these ones and you start getting into the functions from here on down, it's computer language stuff, and it gets really funky. Exponents isn't so bad, but this modus and the shift bits and the ANDs, ORs, and exclusive ORs can get weird if you start using numbers. I just use yeses and nos with these ones as far as inputs. I don't like I say, I don't go into enough programming to say that I even close to understanding that. So there it is. I basically drew out the entire truth table all the way up to 40. If anybody remembers truth tables. So there it is. that covers all of the combinators. In the next episode, what I'm going to cover is what things we can read, or what things we can control with our wires, with our red and green wires, because you're going to need to know those things in order to start using some of this stuff, because that's what this is all leading up to, is us being able to control our plants, control our factories, using these combinators. So you're going to have to know what you can read from and what you can control. So the next episode, I'm going to sit down and we'll look at all of the objects that you can make in vanilla Factorio, and what we can do and what we can and cannot control, what we can and cannot read. And that will cover all of the stuff. And then once we get done that, we can start looking at actual circuit designs, things like SR latches, and how to adjust steam plant levels and things like that. And that's where the fun begins. And we'll start looking into that. So there it is, guys. I hope that helps some. I hope it wasn't completely confusing. You know, that's why I waited till last one for this arithmetic combinator, because it gets really kind of weird and kind of funky, and I don't completely understand some of it myself. So there we go. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. You guys have a good day. Bye.